Welcome to another edition of Swim Easy Speed. My name is Tim Floyd. I'm a longtime swim and triathlon coach. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to review another one of the athletes from the kind of Woodlands, Magnolia, Montgomery County area who raced in El Cruce down in Mexico, the 10K open water swim that goes from Cancun to Isla Mujeres, and we're going to just take a look and see what her stroke looks like and just analyze it a little bit so you can see kind of the wide range of athletes that participate in the race. We've already done two before this, so one was with a local athlete, former pro triathlete and longtime swimmer, TJ Fry. The other was with a longtime swimmer, and he's currently on the team, Jesse Robinson. And we reviewed their strokes. I've known both of them for a very long time. And then the third one here is she is comes from a kind of Ironman triathlon background. Doesn't come from a swim background, and she swam for the team for a number of years, and then schedule changed a little bit. But yeah, she was kind enough to come on out to the endless pool and let me analyze her stroke and share it with all of you. So here we go. So I'll just let it run for a little bit so you can get an idea of what her stroke looks like. Okay, so now we're going to back it up, and we'll start from the beginning and just kind of start to break things down a little bit. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is, kind of where we always start these sessions, which is, she's got a pretty long body position here, so we're probably about there is where it starts to drop off and go below the water. So there's kind of the line at about that angle too. We'll see more when we go underwater, but you can see the hip is the shoulders and the head are kind of higher than the hips and the feet. But the body position's pretty good in terms of, she's pretty straight, kind of trying to drive everything straight forward. We'll get a better view from the top, and you'll see some of the things that she can work on there. The one thing that she mentioned that she had been doing, so she'd been doing a lot of, really straight kind of long swimming. So, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 yards straight in the pool. She did some pretty big open water swims, lengthy open water swims beforehand. And she said that she felt like she just didn't have the power she used to have on the water or the speed, that she was just kind of always stuck in one gear. And, that's the one thing that you got to understand about swimming and how it's different from, say, but even the bike and the run are like this too. Look, you want to have a wide variety of training kind of stimulus. And, it's not just about training kind of to have this aerobic engine. Although that's important, but, we want to have a really, really efficient stroke. And if you put the primary focus on building an efficient, fast stroke, the metabolic, so aerobic capacity, anaerobic capacity, will come along with it. And you can say the same thing about running and even to some extent cycling. That, you really want to have all of the fundamentals of the movement down. And that means not only making the movement, but having the strength and conditioning and fitness necessary to support that movement for the time that you're going to be racing. So, if you build kind of this, car that basically can only go in one gear, you're always going to be stuck in one gear. And if you try to go out of that gear, the whole thing can blow up. So you really want to make sure that, and then the other thing that typically happens is when you do straight long swimming like that, it typically makes your stroke less efficient because you're just not as focused on what you're doing and how you're swimming. So if we go here, so underwater, you can see that, particularly with this right arm right here, you can see that the wrist is above the elbow, which is kind of above the shoulder. And so she pulls from that position. So you can see the elbow drops right there. She continues to pull. She didn't really start pulling herself forward till right about there. So that's where the hand is kind of finally pushing the water back. So basically from there to there, it's all pressed down on the water. And basically what that does is, and we've gone over this before, but presses the shoulder and the head up, and then the feet and the hips and the lower part of your body down. So it creates a lot of drag in the water, shortens the water line, which shortens your kind of distance per stroke. So on the left, you can see it's a little bit better. She starts pulling herself forward right about there. So a little bit in front of that. And then you can even see how her hips surge up right there as she gets that really good pull on the water. And we'll keep on going. And then you can see kind of the gap right there between kind of the top of her butt and the water line. So this right in here, that's 10, 12 seconds, 100. Same effort level, just 10, 12 seconds, 100 faster. If that was higher. Okay, so here's some of the stuff she's doing well. So you can see right here, hand, shoulder in line together right there. And then hand, shoulder in line together. And she's doing a really great job of driving all of that forward. Now, we do get this, so you can start to see a little bit of a curve right here in her body as she rotates to the one side. Part of that's the breath, and then you can see her feet come apart. That's to balance for some instability. It's also because you can see kind of both goggles there. She's creating a little bit of instability that she's got to correct for on that rotation. And that's why the feet come apart, why we get this kind of curve in the body. And remember, we want just from top of the head to the tip of the feet, really, really just kind of everything as compact as possible. And just moving just laser pointer straight. There's really kind of no way that you can get around that if you want to be efficient. And some of this can be kind of corrected in the weight room. She just needs a little bit more strength to hold everything together. Because overall, she's got a pretty good movement. It's fairly connected. So here's one of the parts that I wanted to show you. So, the pull pattern over here looks pretty good. If you figure midline's right there, she does a pretty good job of kind of skirting that midline, going right down the middle of her body. Now, you can see kind of on this right how she dumps a lot of pressure and her pull is kind of way outside the body. So what that's doing is it's putting a lot of pressure. I'm not going to be able to do it on the other side, but it's putting a lot of pressure. It's just isolating the top part of her shoulder, front top part of her shoulder, to the pull. So it's taking that lat out of the equation. It's taking some of the pec out of the equation, kind of some of the scapular muscles. But really taking the lat out of the equation, which is the big kind of pulling muscle in your back for swimming. And you can see that right there. And then here, she's pretty good. I mean, you can see her foot there. But for the most part, she's got the majority of her body tucked up behind her. It could be a little bit higher, like we talked about earlier. But all in all, pretty good. So I think that she certainly can, do some things to clean up her stroke, but all in all, she's really going in the right direction. And some of the stuff she can clean up in the weight room, which is, if you're trying to compete in 10K swims and you want to be able to really handle the training load successfully, and then make yourself just faster in general, 3 times a week in the weight room is great if you have that time. It can certainly make then your training in the pool that much more efficient. So, let's see, finish up here. But as always, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe down below. You can find us at swimeasyspeed.com or follow along on Instagram at swimeasyspeed. So thanks again for tuning in.